meditate on this Bhagavad Gita verses and share our realizations. So today we are studying Bhagavad Gita, verse chapter 12, verse 18 and 19. Samaha shatrau cha mitre cha tatha manapamanayo shitoshna sukha dukkeshu samaha sangha vivarjitaha tulya nindastuti mauni santushto yena kenachit aniketah sthirmatir bhaktiman me priyo narah sama shatrau cha mitre cha tatha mana pamanayo shitoshna sukha dukkeshu samaha sangha vivarjitah tulya nindastuti mauni santushto yena kenachit aniketah sthirmati bhaktiman me priyo narah. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ji ki jai. Forward to our synonyms, translation purpose. Samaha equal, Shatra to an enemy, Cha also, Mitre to friend, Cha also, Tatha so, Mana in honor, Apamana yoha and dishonor, Sita in cold, Ushna heat, Sukha happiness, Dukkeshu and distress, Samaha equipoise, Sangha vivarjitaha free from all association, Tulya equal, Ninda in defamation, Stutihi and repute, Mauni silent, Santushtaha satisfied, Ena kenachit with anything, Aniketaha having no residence, Tira fixed, Matihi determination, Bhaktiman engage in devotion, Me to me, Priyaha dear, Naraha a man. Equal to an enemy, also to a friend, also so in honor and dishonor, in cold and heat, happiness and distress, equipoise free from all association, equal in defamation and repute, silent, satisfied with anything, having no residence, fixed determination, engage in devotion, to me, dear man. Translation: one who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge, who is engaged in devotional service. Such a man is very dear to me. Purport: a devotee is always free from all bad association. Sometimes one is praised, sometimes one is defamed. That is the nature of human society. But a devotee is always transcendental to artificial fame, infamy, distress, or happiness. He is very patient. He does not speak of anything but the topics about Krishna. Therefore, he is called silent. Silent does not mean that one should not speak. Silent means that one should not speak nonsense. One should speak only of essentials. And the most essential speech for the devotee is to speak for the sake of the Supreme Lord. A devotee is happy in all conditions. Sometimes he may get very palatable foodstuffs, sometimes not. But he is satisfied. Nor does he care for any residential facility. He may sometimes live underneath a tree, and he may sometimes live in a very palatial building. He is attracted to neither. is called fixed because he is fixed in his determination and knowledge. We may find some repetition in the descriptions of the qualifications of a devotee, but this is just to emphasize the fact that a devotee must acquire all these qualifications. Without good qualifications, one cannot be a pure devotee. Harao abhaktasya kuto mahadguna. One who is not a devotee has no good qualification. One who wants to be recognized as a devotee should develop the good qualifications. Of course, he does not extraneously endeavor to acquire these qualifications, but engagement in Krishna consciousness and devotional service automatically help him develop them. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, this is just a continuation from the previous verse where Krishna is describing the transcendental qualities of a pure devotee. And as we have discussed in the past few verses, all the qualities that has been discussed, and Krishna says that one who possesses them, those devotees become very dear to Krishna. So in one way, Krishna is also telling us how to become dear to him by acquiring these qualities. So here again, there are many qualities, has been actually enlisted here in this verse. That one who is equal to friends and enemies, one who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy. So all these actually qualities, So even in the chapter 2, there is actually a brief description of these qualities where Krishna says, Matras parshusha kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkheshu dukkada agam payino anityas tam titikshasva bharata. So I remember that verse where it says that actually dualities of this material existence, the heat and cold, the honor and dishonor, happiness and distress, fame and infamy as well. So here, the similar qualities are actually described by Krishna here of a pure devotee. So, as I understood that, as Srila Prabhupada also states here, that this is the nature of a human society in this material world. The fame and infamy. Someone is sometimes praised, appreciated. Sometimes he is defamed. Sometimes we hear someone's character is assassinated and all those things. So these things happen. It happens to materialistic person as well, and it happens to devotee as well. However, for a devotee, the difference here is that devotee is actually transcendental to all these artificial things that we see in this material world, these dualities. So still he remains equipoised, he does not get disturbed. He does not actually lose his composure because he's not attached to this dualities. So, as I was reading the Srila Prabhupada's purport, and Srila Prabhupada says that, even in the heat and cold, happiness and distress, this is very basic things that everyone experiences. I also experienced in my life as well. So, these things actually, they are non-permanent. They're not actually, they will come and go. So, one has to remain actually patient, and one has to learn to tolerate this, as is described in chapter 2, that one has to actually, develop the ability to actually go through this without being disturbed, and especially without being disturbed from a devotional path. Because as soon as we are in a difficult situation, we are not actually in a comfortable situation, then it's very easy to be distracted from a devotional activities, even from the actually basic chanting or actually doing of services. So as a neophyte, so one has to actually, I have to learn this, that no matter, if we go through the good phase or bad phase, our devotional service should continue. In fact, I remember the Amrish always mentioned that in a difficult situation, one has to intensify his devotional service. So our faith in Krishna increases. So that is also a very interesting point, when I thought about it, because if we actually learn to focus more in a difficult situation, then actually, definitely, yes, our faith will increase. And at the same time, as our faith increases, actually, somehow we will develop actually maybe a tolerance, or Krishna will give us a strength from within to actually go through the difficult situations. So, as it is said that actually, devotee must be, he must have a firm faith in Krishna, that he will protect us in all the situations. And in all this situation, one has to discharge his duty. And Srila Prabhupada gave the example to the Arjuna that even he is in a difficult situation on a battlefield, but his duty to fight, he cannot actually renounce that duty. Even he has to fight against his own actually relatives, his grandfather, his uncle, all these kingsmen. But he should fight because this is actually a service being rendered to Krishna. So I should also learn the similar lesson. The second point, actually, the first, actually, the statement, the devotee is always free from all the bad association. Sangha vivarjitaha. So this is very important, that devotee should always remain in a actually good association or a devotional association. Even in Chaitanya Charitamrita, I think this reference came when we were studying, I think, Nectar of Instruction. The Asata Sangha Tyaga by Vaishnava Achara. So it's a Vaishnava's quality to give up all the bad association, Asata Sangha. So yeah, everyone actually knows, it's not even actually just for the devotees. Even for a materialistic person, their parents teach the children that he should not get into the association of a bad people, So even for the materialistic people, it's important to remain in association of those that will actually help them actually develop in that direction. And Srila Prabhupada gave the example of even business people. If you want to be successful in a particular business, then you have to actually associate with those kind of people. So you learn the skill and you actually progress. So for devotee especially, because it's very difficult to actually get a good association in this material world, because there are not many devotees around. It's very easy to get bad association. Anywhere you go, it's very easy to obtain. But to find a devotee, or especially a pure devotee, or good devotee, who will guide you nicely on this devotional path, is very difficult to obtain. So one has to actually shut out such association, or if you are fortunate enough to get into such association, then one should actually make the most out of that actually association, or remain actually loyal and actually serve those devotees very nicely, though, so that he can always remain in that actually good company, and that will ultimately beneficial for the devotee. Next, actually, the point I was actually thinking here is that, the actual devotee is satisfied with anything, so even the actually material conditions, sometimes, as Srila Prabhupada says, sometimes the devotee may live in a palatial building, or sometimes he lives under a tree, sometimes he will get a very palatable prasad, or sometimes he just get, very simple prasad, or even nothing. But he should be satisfied with any situation, because he should remain detached to this materialistic thing. So this is very, very important, because actually we are very attached to, the palatable food stuff, or actually materialistic things, not just home, but there's so many things nowadays, especially, and so many distractions. So one has to learn that actually these things, maybe on a short if you're just actually not thinking from the big picture, point, so you may think that these things will actually make you happy, or actually these will give you pleasure. But in the end, actually, they will distract you from your actually the devotional path, which is very detrimental for your actually progress. So actually, even actually, as it is said, even in Nectar of Instruction, I think last week I was studying. So Srila Prabhupada said even the wealth comes by grace of the Lord. That we should not actually become attached to that wealth, or should not indulge into sense gratification. So rather we use that in Krishna's service, as we say, so yukta vairagya. And Srila Prabhupada also mentioned the point about being a maun, or a silent. So this is very interesting, that Srila Prabhupada says the devotee is silent. He's silent because it does not mean that he's not speaking anything, but one who does not speak nonsense. That is the meaning of being silent. So I remember even Amrish Prabhu also, when we used to have physical programs here, so he always insisted that we should not discuss material things, in our program. Even we are not actually having a class, we should always discuss devotional topics and speak about Krishna. So now I actually, remember those instructions, that actually there's a very, very important instructions, and why we should not speak about materialistic things, because again we contaminate our consciousness when we speak about materialistic things. So it's rather, whenever we speak, we should speak about the Lord, or in relationship to the Lord. So this is very, very important. And Srila Prabhupada says the best way, you will talk about the Lord is to actually to hear more and more about the Lord and his pastimes, or read the actually Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and meditate on these instructions. So I also experience this, I also sometimes actually experience these actually things, that whenever you are more and more, engrossed about thinking on this Bhagavad Gita instructions, or you preparing for the classes, or you actually hearing about actually devotional topics from the devotees. So these things always actually, they're always in your mind. You are actually thinking about these things, and it is good for your actually devotional progress. But as soon as you are actually not in that association, you are actually associating with the materialistic people, be it in a work environment or in family environment, it's very easy to get distracted, and you lose a taste for even devotional topics. So yes, I think it's very important instruction that we should always, try to think about Krishna, or speak about Krishna, or actually hearing about, or to hear about actually Krishna. So all these instructions are very, very important, and the most important instruction for a devotee is to remain fixed in actually devotional service, or the knowledge about the actually Krishna. So that is the most important instruction for a devotee, that because that's a constitutional position, that we are subordinate and we are always supposed to serve Krishna. So remaining actually engaged in actually devotional activities is very, very important, and it will help me as well to a great extent to actually remain actually fixed on this path. And as Srila Prabhupada says, that by rendering service, being engaged in these services will definitely help one develop all these good qualities. So that is actually, these are the point I realized while meditating on this verse. Thank you, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, His Grace Amrish Prabhuji. Thank you, Her Grace Pul Pragya Devi Dasi Mataji, and thank you, His Grace Krishna Samarpan Krishna Prabhuji, for organizing these classes and training us to share our realizations. And thank you, Sheetal Prabhuji, for very nice and elaborated realizations today. So we are doing Bhagavad Gita chapter 12, verse number 18 and 19 today. Samah shatro cha mitre cha tatha manapamanayo shitoshna sukha dukkheshu samah sangha vivarjitah tulya nindastu tirmauni santushto yena kenachit aniketah sasthiramatir bhaktiman sme priyo narah. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge and who is engaged in devotional service, such a person is very dear to me. So as we are doing this chapter, and Krishna, the name of the chapter is devotional service, and here Krishna is emphasizing on the qualities a devotee should have, which Krishna likes in a devotee, and those devotees who have acquired these qualities are the very dear to Krishna. So again, so many qualities are here given in this verse, that how one has to be equipoised in any condition. He can, the person who, a devotee who can see his enemies and friends with the equal eye, and who is not affected by honor or dishonor. I mean, if one gets if someone is dishonoring him, still he doesn't feel like that because he's not accepting it. Then heat and cold, which affects the bodies, and then happiness, distress, fame, infamy, always all these kind of things, which these all dualities, as Sheetal Prabhu also mentioned, these are the dualities which affect everyone. But a devotee learns to tolerate these, and somehow he remains equipoised in all these favorable or unfavorable conditions. As Guru Maharaj said, that we don't expect any respect. We should not expect even any praise from others. We completely mind our own sadhana. So that should be the vision of a devotee, and that's the goal a devotee has, and that with that focus he always tries to do the devotional service to the Lord. I also like this word here, Sangha Vivarjita, as Sheetal Prabhu also mentioned, which means free from association. But also Prabhupada writes in the first line in the purport that a devotee is always free from all bad association. So a devotee means a person who has having all the good qualities and using all those qualities in service of Krishna. And this Sangha Vivarjitah, we have practically seen that lots of people, lots of youngsters also, when we see them, they join our Hare Krishna weekend groups. They come with a different mindset, but once they are in shelter of Guru Maharaj, in the weekend Sangha, and with His Grace Amrish Prabhuji's good training, we have seen how they keep changing, and how they are actually progressing on the path of devotional service. So that associate and the youngsters and even every one of us accept that the whatever association we have, we become like that. So it's very, very important that we have good association of the pure devotees. And we are so fortunate to have association with Srila Prabhupada's books, our Guru Maharaj Association, and WECAN Hare Krishna Association, which keeps us focused on the path of devotional service. So I was just thinking that because mind always keeps bumping new ideas, and its job is to thinking, willing, and experiencing all the time, and very difficult to focus only on Krishna consciousness. But with the good association with the like-minded people, it becomes easier for all of us. But as soon as we come out of that association, it's very difficult to focus on Krishna's lotus feet. Also, I have there are many verses in Bhagavad Gita which talks about this kind of the same thing of Sukh Dukha Samay Kritva, or as Shritar Prabhuji also shared, Matra Sparshas tu Kaunteya. So all these verses where Krishna is emphasizing that how a devotee has to be very tolerant, how a devotee can develop all these qualities and be equipoised, and it doesn't come like instantly. One has to do the sadhana for a very long time with wholeheartedly, and slowly one develops all these qualities. So I was just thinking that how can we get focused, that we don't lose focus, and remembering Krishna is very, it has to become very natural for us, like taking, like we are taking breath all the time. How can that happen? I know it's very difficult for me because how can I overcome the influence of the modes of material nature? It keeps constantly kicking me, and I get disfocused. But then again, association keeps me on the right path actually. So there is a very nice verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, which I would like to share here. Yat पाद पंकज विलास पलाश विलास भक्त्या, यत पाद पंकज पलाश विलास भक्त्या, कर्माशयं ग्रथितम् उद्ग्रथयन्ति सन्तः, तद्वन्न रिक्तमतयो यततोऽपि रुद्धा, स्त्रोतो गणास्तं अरण्यं भज वासुदेवम्. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The devotees who are always engaged in the service of the toes of the lotus feet of the Lord can very easily overcome hard knotted desires for fruitive activities, because this is very difficult. The non-devotees, the jnanis, the yogis, although trying to stop the waves of sense gratification, cannot do so. Therefore, you are advised to engage in the devotional service of Krishna, the son of Vasudeva. So, with one pointed attention, if we try to focus on the lotus feet of the Lord, then all fruitive desires can be, actually, we cannot stop the desires, but we can just mold our desires towards the service of Krishna. That's what Srila Prabhupada has very nicely explained in many places. So in this verse which we are doing from Bhagavad Gita today, so one more word comes which is very attractive to me: santushto yen kenachit. To becoming satisfied, to get satisfied is a very very rare quality. Generally, we are always hankering from something. Even we think that we are very satisfied, this and that, but as soon as something attractive comes, then mind goes towards that. So to be very satisfied and focused is difficult for me. But when we see how Guru Maharaj was so satisfied in all the conditions, always so blissful, always smiling, always so welcoming, then why can't I be satisfied? So Maharaj always shows the path that you can be satisfied in any condition. Although I find it difficult, but because we have the role models in front of us, so it is always possible to acquire all these qualities. When I look at myself, I find I'm not even a devotee, because I haven't acquired any of these qualities, and I don't know if in my lifetime I will be able to acquire these qualities or not. But I have full faith in Guru Maharaj, in Srila Prabhupada, and in Krishna, that one day maybe I'll be successful. And even if I'm not, even if I don't get any success, but at least I'm engaged in service of Krishna. So that is the best thing, and that is all I desire for. So this is my realization from this verse. And thank you. Hare Krishna, dear devotees.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much. This is Shikar Prabhu and Hari's Sarvasiddhi Mataji for your very nice realizations. So we are on Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, verse 18 and 19. Sama shatru cha mitre cha tatha manapamanayo sitosha sukha dukheshu sama sangha vivarjita tulya ninda sutir mauni santushto yena kenache aniketa siramati. Bhaktiman me priyo naraha. Synonyms translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contamination, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge and engaged in devotional service, is very dear to me. So this verse and this chapter, as we all know, is very, very important to all of us, devotional service. And Krishna is telling us all these different qualities of how we should be a perfect devotee, and how by being a perfect devotee we can be dear to him. So the first thought that came to my mind was, when I was reading all these qualities, is the immediate thought that, oh, this is so hard. And then the next thought was, actually, it is not very hard. Both of these conflicting thoughts came one after the other. And I felt that there was an underlying principle in this purport. The underlying principle is that more than we are trying to be dear to Lord Krishna, we have to follow that. There is a process to follow that path. And the most underlying factor for me in that was to see Krishna's hand in everything. So everything that is happening, if we can try to see Krishna's hand in those activities and everything that is happening around us, then it will be easier. Because it is one thing to, for me personally, it is one thing to read the scriptures. It's another thing to understand it. And then it's another completely different level to actually implement it. And as our dear Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Vishnu Goswami Maharaj, always gave us instructions, how do we practically implement these scriptures? So I was thinking from a perspective of that, if I'm speaking, if we are into preaching and I have to say this to someone, then how am I going to be able to convince someone that you have to be equipoised in whatever situation you are in your life? And for us to be able to convince others, the most important factor is that we should be convinced ourselves. Srila Gurudev always said that preaching is reaching. And I personally believe this, that and Srila Gurudev also said this, that people around us are very intelligent. They can understand, whether this person is just saying something for the sake of it, or the person is actually saying because of experience or because of the genuinity in the feeling. And this is very, very important, the consciousness. So we sometimes can just get ourselves into a situation where we may take things for granted in terms of our level of consciousness. And we may read something, we may hear something and discuss something, and then without actually experiencing that consciousness, we may speak, and then the effect is not there. This is my personal experience. And this is by listening to Srila Gurudev's lectures on this. And I felt that this is the reason why when Srila Prabhupada speaks, and when Srila Gurudev also speaks, and when the pure devotees speak, then it reaches our heart. Because we may not be ready to receive that level of knowledge. but still we are capable of listening, and we say, causeless mercy, that we understand the message. So that is because of the genuinity in the message, and because they have that wealth of experience and knowledge. So what I was why I'm emphasizing so much on this is because then it will help me to put this into practice. And by even not being a devotee, just our general rule of experience in this material world, um, we know that sometimes there is we are in a situation where we may be very famous, and in the same another situation where there may be something very infamous, maybe because of our deeds or maybe because of external circumstances, anything. The distress and happiness we all experience. So what is the thinking or consciousness that we should have, or we should try to achieve? So Srila Prabhupada says that whatever suffering is happening to me is happening because of my past karma. And I am suffering less because of Lord Krishna's mercy. The impact is less. And we have shared this hundred and millions of times. Many devotees have shared this in the past also. But when actually we are going through a situation, for us to be able to think like this may be very, very difficult. To remember also may be very, very difficult. But it's very simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. There were just few quotes of Srila Gurudev, His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj, that I was recollecting as well, which I'm going to share. So, that Krishna was helping Arjun. He was serving as a charioteer. And for the whole day, he was taking all the arrows and everything on him and saving Arjuna really. And even then, he didn't ask any salary from Arjun. The akarma is coming from Krishna, and the greatest return was the satisfaction. Krishna does not expect anything, and he does everything. And this is what we should be doing also. We should do everything, but we should not expect anything. I think Saraswati Mataji and Prabhuji, also Sheetal Prabhu, they mentioned about no expectations. So that is one of the thought process that can help us to achieve that level of consciousness. Also, another point that came to my mind was Srila Gurudev always talking about us, imagining us being on our deathbed every day. And that can make this determination and dedication more serious. Just the last point was also about association. So association, I was thinking, is not only association by in terms of our having Vapu like physical association where we are, meeting people. That is not the only method of association. I think it's very important that association can be in the way in which we are spending our time, the way with which we are spending our time. What are we reading? Letting what are we doing and letting things affect our consciousness and our thinking? So it's very important that, because we are living in the material world, so it is very natural that we are going to get influenced by so many things that are happening around us, and every day there is something that happens. And um, I remember another quote by Srila Gurudev here also, that we are always surprised by things. Every day we are surprised. Oh, today there is a war, we are surprised. Oh, tomorrow there was an earthquake, we are surprised. So we have to stop being surprised. And when I read that, I thought, really, I mean, this is so true. We know that there are so many things which can happen and do happen, and yet when they happen, we are surprised. So it's a very subtle way of how we let things affect our consciousness, and we do not allow certain things to affect our consciousness, so then we can stay focused on Krishna consciousness. And at the end, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, of course, he does not extraneously endeavor to acquire these qualifications. The qualifications are the good qualifications of a devotee, but engagement in Krishna consciousness and devotional service automatically helps him develop them. And this I can say by experience, that when you are fully engaged in your devotional service, and when you're only focused on your devotional service, then everything else doesn't matter. And it's not that you want it to be taken care of, but it is taken care of. And it's a better and practical way, rather than trying to focus on everything else, and then after I do everything else, I'll do my devotional service. This is a very basic realization, but I think it has always helped me. Like, even when I was at the beginning of Krishna consciousness, I'm still at the beginning of Krishna consciousness. And whether I'm in any stage of Krishna consciousness, whether it is when you're doing very intense devotional service, whether you're doing anything, whether you're uh, in a different environment where you're traveling and you're trying to focus on a devotional service, in all these different spectrums of life, I think this has helped a lot, that we have to really, really understand what we need to focus on. And that is trying to engage in Krishna consciousness and our devotional service. And then automatically everything else is a byproduct of that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for your wonderful realizations. There are still a few minutes left, so I will quickly share my few points. All of you shared some very nice points, which are all very relevant and all beneficial for our bhakti. The translation says that one who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised to honor dishonor, number 2, heat and cold, number 3, happiness and distress, number 4, fame and infamy, number 5, who's always free from contamination. So there is no duality here. These 5 points were duality, opposites. So it's always free from contaminating association. Is one. Always silent, number 2. So first is parting is the different material situations. There's the first part which Krishna said with those different dualities. Now he's instructing us how we should be taking care of ourselves. So he says that we should be free from contamination, contaminating association, 1. Always silent, 2. And satisfied with anything, number 3. Who doesn't care for any residence, number 4. Who is fixed in knowledge, number 5. And who is engaged in devotional service, number 6. Such a person is very dear to me. So 11 points are mentioned, divided into 2 different categories. All these points are important, repeated many times, as you all have said, which is correct. But there are certain important points here which stands out for me is to remain silent. This is how we should be accepting things, the 6 points, of which remaining silent. And the association which Krishna mentioned is Sangha Vivarjitaha, as all of you have mentioned. Free from all association is the definition given by Prabhupada. And translation it is written free from contaminating association. So Prabhupada qualifies this. What do you mean by all association? Because not all association are bad. The contaminating association you must avoid. So that is how we get a little deeper meaning and understanding of what Krishna is trying to say. This is the reason why we have to take shelter. This is the reason why, and this is the meaning of taking shelter. Because without taking shelter, we will not understand the meaning of the speaker. That is the reason why we request, Wednesday program especially, that if you miss, you must share your realization. But I've told many times, that is one part, your realization, sharing is one part. Second part is to listen to others and pick up what you've heard from them. Because I believe this is how we may be able to remember Krishna more. But if you all feel that no, I will remember Krishna by doing something else, that is up to you, no problem. As your servant, my business is only one. I have kept it that way, removing all other businesses for a period of time. I've kept this only one business. Is that somehow, by the extreme callous mercy of Krishna, Srila Gurudev, extreme callous mercy, I've become your servant. So till the time that I'm your servant, this is how it would be. But if you feel that no, this is how it is, no problem, because I'm nobody. So this is the meaning where we require the mercy. Otherwise, it is very easy for us to say, okay, we never even understood that there's a difference in the translation. Or even if it is there, we did not think it is important enough. So now the association is ABC of bhakti. Now I want to ask one question. Whose association you take the most in any given day? Please tell me.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I find Srila Prabhupada's books association and lectures and that Guru Maharaj and our WECAN Hare Krishna, all these associations are actually in line with all Srila Prabhupada's teachings. So I find it very thorough and very helpful. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you, Mother. But what I'm saying is, every day, whose association does every one of you take the most?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. So we definitely means actually, get the association of the instruction, coming through our programs, WhatsApp groups. We also study, Bhagavad Gita, but it's not every day. I think the association that I receive very consistently is a chanting. I think that is very consistent every day, and the maximum time is spent. So that is the biggest time spent for me. Then depending on actually, the classes and all that on a particular day, then we actually, give to the devotees or study Bhagavad Gita. Then Melos also, we are actually reading every day. But for me, I think it's a very consistent on day-to-day basis is chanting.
Okay, thank you. Whose association do you take the most every day?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. It's the same Prabhuji that when we do chanting and sometimes Prabhuji I listen the kirtan. So I feel like I don't get much time to read or something, but at least I try to listen kirtan or Srila Prabhupada's lecture, or most of the time I listen the lectures we have on sometimes we had on Sunday and Wednesday's one. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Whose association do you take the most every day?
Hare Krishna. I have a very different answer actually. So all these activities that everyone else has mentioned is the reading, listening to the lecture, chanting. But I think my association is with my thoughts, my own thoughts. After doing all these things, that is the thing that is influencing my association the most after all the activities are done. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
I'd probably say for myself, Hare Krishna devotees, I'd probably say for myself, what I spend the most time with every day is not spiritual. I'd say it's sense gratificatory. I'd probably say, my computer or my phone. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So the most association we take every day is with our own self. Do we not think like this? This is our most important association we take every day. If we chant for what? 1 hour, 1.5 hour, 1 hour, 45 minutes, 24 hours. So it is very important that we understand whose association we take. Because our mind, one of the 3 problems that is faced, material problems, is to one's own self. And we completely neglect this. The mind tells us something, we do it. Mind tells us that, we do it, and we don't even realize we're taking their association. You see, this is the problem. Only 1 or 2 people said this. Mind is associated. And the mind is are we controlling our mind? Is mind under no control? Please tell me, all of you, please tell us. Is our mind in our control?
No.
No, Prabhuji.
No, Prabhuji.
No, Guru.
Now just see, if we are taking association of our own mind, our own self, and it is not in our control. So mind has its own mind. Do you think like this? That is the reason why we have to understand this point. I asked once Guru Maharaj, said, Maharaj, of all the 3, Adi Bhautik, Adi Evik, and Adhyatmik, Dukh, the biggest Dukh is our Adhyatmik Dukh, no Maharaj? Maharaj gave me very long explanation to this. We are not Krishna conscious. See? This associating with other people comes later on. Choosing the right ones comes much later on. So as a servant, I would earnestly request this point. We must be very intelligent. Every day we are associating, we are not realizing we are associating. And this person with whom we are associating is our own self. And this person, our own self, is also one of the 3 problems of this material world. Adhyatmik Dukh, giving this. Now you tell me, if this is association we are taking and we are under the control of mind, the mind will always take us away from what could be right or what could be wrong for us. How do we know? That's why we say that somebody who smiles at us, doesn't chastise us, is very good for us. Very nice. I like this person very much. The second person who is correcting us, say, what is he doing my business? Always in my case. I don't like it. I want peace of mind. Get out. See, I want what? Peace of mind. Again, mind. This is how mind is controlling our completely. It is a farcical thing, is it not so? Laughing matter. I want peace of mind, so I'm not wanting. But this person is telling us the truth. We don't want the truth. So that's why it is. And that is the reason why Srila Gaur Kishoras Babaji Maharaj has said this. It is not the loss of the person who speaks the truth, the devotee. Loss of the listener. And same thing Kabir also mentioned. One who criticizes, keep him close to you. But we don't do such things. So we are not intelligent. So everything falls around this. That's why Guru Maharaj mentioned and instructed me to say, everyone who comes to you, You make them satisfied. You see? How can we be satisfied when our association is not correct? We think we are great. We do some little bit things and we are very great. Nobody can tell us anything. Moment we come to the position that others cannot tell us, correct us, especially our seniors, that is our downfall. Complete downfall. That means you are under control of your own self, which is your mind. But that is the first association you have. And you think that I'm going to take pure devotee association and this is that association. So it is very important that we associate with pure devotees every single day. And then when we associate with them, whatever they say, or rest of the day, whenever possible, as much time as possible, we must think whether I'm following that path or not. But instead of that, we are saying the mind is my association. Mind would want us to listen to this, and I'm bored now. So move around. Next thing. Bored now. I'm hungry now. Eat. Now I'm looking at this. I'm this. I'm that. This problem, that problem. 100%. And we will have to do such things. Problems have to be solved. You cannot not solve the problem. Hunger has to be satisfied. Money has to be earned. This is why in the letter of instruction we say this. That don't talk to people, meaning what? Whatever is needed, you talk. This is the meaning of it. Our association is with our own mind. Even we allow mind to only that extent that is needed to be done. And this is not possible to be achieved. This is where intense prayer has to be made to Krishna. Only when Krishna is completely satisfied, when Krishna is satisfied with our prayers, then he will give us the discriminating power. Baba, we say, now enough of this, Baba. My mind, now let me think about what I heard. Otherwise, we will never be able to even understand this. So we are completely dependent upon Krishna for this. I was reading, there's no time to refer to the verse, but it refers like this, that Krishna is telling Yudhishthira Maharaj that my devotee has got all six opulences, more than any demigods or anyone else can have. Tell me. This is what Krishna says. My devotee has all this. And here he's saying that person should not have any house. How can he be opulent? He doesn't care about a fixed residence. How can he be having all this opulence, riches? Tell me. All riches, Krishna says. He says, keep quiet. Be satisfied. So these are the things which we should be finding out from these verses. When we are able to do so, our mind is not going out of these points. Now, it is not possible to do so 100%. So, as much as possible, we must do. How long are we going to remain neophytes? You tell me. Are we not tired to be remaining neophytes? How long are we going to say that some other person is a pure devotee? I'm not a pure devotee. I will not be a pure devotee. So, when will you be pure devotee? Oh, one day. When is it one day? I do not know. Many lifetime. It is your choice, you see. Everybody has a choice to be made. But here Prabhupada says in the purport that one has to develop these qualities to become pure devotee. Only when we are in this path of bhakti and we're very, very serious about it, then all these things will come. Now, very quickly, let us see this in the reverse order. Now, supposing if you are very, very serious about bhakti, first thing you will say, whether this is going to help my bhakti or not. What is helping my bhakti? Going to some place is helping my bhakti? Or going to this place is going to help my bhakti? Then based upon it, we take decisions. I do it that way. And I encourage all of you, if you feel that no, this Hare Krishna weekend is not a place where I increase my bhakti, we must leave immediately without delay. We should be that selfish and thorough. Just like in business, we say, what is in it for me? See? And that is the reason why we say we are nobody. If I am say I am nobody, how can anybody say they are somebody? But if somebody says they are somebody, let them be somebody. So we are just nobody. Amanina Manadina. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, owner of everything, when he traveled around India, he lived without residence. Even on the roadside, he has slept. We have done the verse, if you remember our conversation. He should sleep on the roadside. Can we imagine this? When somebody was offered Chappan Bhog, he will have Chappan Bhog also. But he was very detached. He would say, why? Chappan Bhog you are giving me. So, no, as Lord Jagannath, you always have this Chappan Bhog. So it's not difficult for you. You see? So this is how, if we are very focused, then we will know what is right for us, what is wrong for us. And that is the reason why it is very important that whose instructions we carry to change our life. We may listen to everyone's instructions, but to implement someone's instructions, we have to be very careful. I have learned it in all my career. There is a reason why I choose whose instructions I take. And all of you, whoever feel the presence of Guru Maharaj in your lives, who experience the blessings of Maharaj in your lives, it is up to you. You are in the shelter of Maharaj. And that shelter will take us to our right goal, back to Godhead. Onus is upon us, on nobody else. You see? So this particular verse and all the verses are not repetition. So the contaminating association that we have to consider is our own contamination in our brain, our mind. Excuse me, not brain, mind. So if we are going to associate, whatever we do, mind is our first associate, our friend or enemy. So let us clean the association. How you do it is up to you. At least now we are aware about it. And when we are nobody, then we are always free. Always remember this. If you want to become somebody, you will always be distressed with fame or infamy. Everyone, every personality, any pure devotee whom we consider pure devotee has never cared for his fame or infamy or her. But they are very famous. Take any name. Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, yes, it takes Tukaram Maharaj, Mirabai, Surdas, anyone. They did not care about this. They are a nobody. You see? That is the reason why even whenever acharyas, when they would write books, this is how they write books. They sit in a hut and they chant. Somebody comes, they ask a question, their tears roll from their eyes because they're asking a question about Krishna, and they give a beautiful answer. This is their association. This is their festival. They sit together, somebody else hears it, they sit down. So only all those acharyas who live in the vicinity, they sit together in the evening, but is there, they chant the kirtan, discuss of Krishna, and then go back to their own huts and do their own sadhana. Where is the question about big? Right now we require big association, big buildings, big temples. There's nothing there. This is how it was, association. This is the point. So I just thought I'll raise this point because it is important to me. And satisfaction is what you will achieve. And then once you have satisfied mind, then we will be able to remain silent. Then you'll achieve both spiritually and materially both. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Now, anyone wants to say anything or any questions, please feel free. Hare Krishna. Or anyone want to say anything? If no questions, anything to be added? Okay. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Word to word synonyms, translations, and purport by Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Krishna Nitai Gaur Chandra Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Ram. Hare Ram. Ram Ram. Hare Hare.